Hello, internet friend. I'm Mark. You're getting this video because you asked me some kind of question or you wanted to interview me or something. And it's gotten to the point now where I really love being able to respond to these things, but I just can't respond to all of them and live my normal life and make videos and stuff. So this is kind of a middle ground. This is an unlisted video, so you should still feel very special that you got this. You can see the view count is very low below. But thank you for reaching out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer like the 5 most common questions that I get. I'd say like 98% fall into these same 5 questions. So I'm going to tackle those, and hopefully yours will be included in that. So I'll talk about what I studied in school, how I got a job at NASA and what I did there, kind of how I got started on YouTube, and then in general, kind of what my plans are going forward. So first of all, I studied mechanical engineering at BYU for my undergrad, and when I graduated from there, I went straight to working at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and I just kind of put my resume in a stack of resumes, and I got lucky. I wish I had some like secret tip as to like, oh, this is how you do it, but it was just kind of the right place at the right time. I was at NASA for 9 years. 7 of those were working on the Curiosity rover, which was just a really cool experience. I've made 2 videos about NASA. I'll put both of them in the video description below to links if you haven't seen them, because that also might answer some questions you might have, or I go into a little bit more detail. But for most of the time, I was what's called a cognizant engineer, which is basically I work and I kind of design the hardware and then work with like thermal analysts and stress analysts to make sure that my part will work. And so for part of the time I worked on the descent stage, which is the jetpack that lowers the rover down. And then I also had some hardware on the top deck of the rover. An arm would go dig in the dirt and get a sample and then dump it into the belly of the rover to be analyzed. And so I created some mechanism that sort of accepted that sample. And so if it didn't work, that whole $2 billion mission sort of would have been a failure because we couldn't actually analyze everything. But luckily, it has worked, and it continues to work to this day. It's a little dirtier than when I sent it up, but it's working pretty awesome so far. But it is cool to sometimes sit in my backyard and see the little red dot that is Mars in the southern sky, and just to think something that I've touched and built and designed and tested is on that tiny little speck rolling around 90 million miles away. So I have no regrets about my time at NASA. It was completely amazing. While I was there, I went and I got my master's in mechanical engineering from USC because NASA paid for it. And so investing in yourself is called human capital. If you can get more education, especially if your employer will pay for it, it's an amazing opportunity for me, and I took it. And I'm really glad that I did that as well. But anyways, both are in mechanical engineering. People ask like, oh, what should I major in to get hired at NASA? They hire a bunch of things. Mechanical engineering will always be sort of a good broad base if you like building things and take things apart. And engineering, you know, that might be the right discipline for you. For me, it was perfect. It's kind of what I do. And if you like what I do in all my videos, like that is mechanical engineering. But at the same time, like you should find what works for you. And maybe you're not sure what you want to do. My advice would be to like take just a buttload of entry-level classes and electives, both in high school and then in college too. Each of the majors kind of has like an intro to whatever course. Do that. Go talk with the actual professors. Talk with people who are in that sort of profession. Job shadow them. I'm a huge fan of the shotgun approach and just talking to people and then just taking all that information and like synthesizing it. And if you're in high school and you're trying to figure out like what you want to do, it's like, ugh, I don't know. I wouldn't freak out too much. Like my philosophy in life is kind of look at the stones that are in front of you, step on the one that seems the best, and just kill it. And do as best as you possibly can in whatever that thing is. And then the next step becomes more illuminated. Sometimes people are like, oh, what's your 40-year plan? It's like, I don't know. Like, I had no idea I would be doing this. But what I did know back then was like, whatever I'm doing, I'm just gonna kill it and do it like as best as I possibly can. And I've just found that to be a good philosophy in life. And the next step always feels like it's pretty clear when I get to that point. But if I try to predict that like 10 years in the past, like forget about it. So even if it's like you like to paint like crazy. If you like to design stuff on CAD, like design like some furniture for your room, right? Like whatever it is that you think you are kind of interested in, like dive into that, just dominate that as a hobby, and then like the next hobby or the next thing you're interested, like may become more obvious to you. So while I was at NASA, I had a Halloween costume where I had an iPad in the front, iPad in the back. You do a FaceTime chat. Looks like you have a hole in your body. Anyways, that was my Halloween costume. On a whim, I handed my phone to my wife and said, hey, you should film this, put it up on YouTube, and the next day it had like 1 million views, front page of CNN, it went really viral. And that was like a cool feeling, and I'm like, I have other ideas. I should try and do this once a month. And the videos are super cringy, so if you haven't gone back and looked at those, please don't, compared to like today's production quality. But it shows this principle of like learning and getting better and failing and improving. So from that standpoint, I'm proud of them, but that's about it. When I watch them, I'm like, oh, yeah, they're bad. Anyways, people loved the iPad idea, but they're like, yo, I don't have $2,000 for a Halloween costume. So that got me thinking. All that year, kind of nights and weekends, developed this concept of company we call Digital Duds, where you use like a free iPhone app and then a shirt you could buy, and then you cut a hole in the shirt. Anyways, it had this really cool effect. And so we launched that, and it did really well, made our money back in like 8 hours. And the next year, we sold it to some guys in the UK called Morph Suits. And then I turned around and worked for them for 2 years. So that was really cool to kind of get a sense of like what it's like to start a company and like the entrepreneurial aspect. And I really did enjoy it. They were super cool dudes. I still lived in the US, but I'd fly over to London and Scotland every couple months to hang out with them. And otherwise I'd work remotely. And then while I was there, I got a call from an old NASA buddy who now worked at a company in the Bay Area, who unfortunately I can't say the name of the company. But anyways, to kind of do sort of their kind of R&D type of work at their company. And it was like, he's an awesome dude, so I really wanted to work with him again. And the work I do now, I absolutely love it. It's really exciting, and it's important for me as far as like the YouTube channel. People are like, oh, you should just make YouTube videos full time. But like, I'm comfortable with the month-to-month pace, and I feel better like being an engineer and keeping YouTube as a hobby. Keeping like the pressure low and doing it something because I'm like passionate about it and I enjoy it, and it's like not my job. So I still work a normal job as an engineer, and then I do the YouTube stuff on the side. However, my real dream job is to teach high school physics. So after a few more years, I think I might quit working as an engineer in private industry and go teach physics, which would be super awesome for me. So I think that about covers the questions. Oh, actually, I wanted to give you a tour. Not many people get this. This is the, you've seen this part of the setup. I have a light here. It's not a very big space. This actually makes it look bigger because it's a fisheye lens. I got some storage here. I've got a light over here. This is just some like nylon sort of parachute stuff that makes the light diffuse. And so yeah, this is my sort of storage slash workbench slash film studio. So anyways, hopefully you still feel special. Again, I apologize I can't do all of these one-on-one, but I myself am a product of some really good teachers and role models in the past. So I love it that even if in just a very small way, I'm able to give some of that back and maybe influence some other people to sort of help their trajectory and what they want to do and go on and be good, positive influences for other people in their lives. I think that's amazing. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching all my videos and all my future videos. I've got a bunch of cool ideas coming up, so I appreciate your continued support. Good luck. Bye-bye.